Welcome back, boys and some girls. Somewhat surprisingly, this game was worth every minute. Puzzles, gameplay, and the writing, all of them just made this game a much more enjoyable experience than I kind of expected it to be. I do recommend that you play the game 100%, but if you wish to know why, and maybe even make the decision yourself, then stay a little bit longer and listen. And as always, the subject in this video will be So let's begin with the story. I was not following the story 100% of the time at every point, because stories with extreme characters have the tendency to not be serious, and with fourth wall breaking here and there, I can say that I was right. In general, the story revolves around the player being shipped into a faraway galaxy to populate the planet and just start a colony on some kind of a wild planet. But just like any other game, you crash land and you have to pick up the pieces that now have been scattered all around the galaxy. Oh, and you get sent there by a big corporation called Alta that is very greedy and evil and corpo and blah 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 blah. You know the drill. From what I saw, there are two endings you can achieve, either individually or together if you want to. Both of them simply lead to the credits, and one of them maybe teases a future game, I think at least. I won't get too much into spoilers, just very surface level stuff, because I do believe that even if the story wasn't super interesting, it wasn't, it did facilitate as a roadmap for the gameplay. Aside from that, the writing was just enough pee and poo humor that it wasn't overbearing like something in High on Life. Here the jokes stays the expected time and definitely came from places I did not expect, like this very simple musical moment. Or even the game noticing when I'm actually breaking the intended path in favor of an actual shorter route.
I didn't think about that. I admire your creativity.
Each planet feels different to others, and you could tell immediately which planet you are on with a screenshot. I will expand more about the experiment later, a little bit more when we get to the vibes section. So in general, the story itself, as in the lore, it's pretty crap and it's boring. I don't remember a single name from it, but I do remember, and forever will, the Alta Evil Corporation's jingle, fueled by families. Good job on that, good job. Gameplay. If I had to choose a genre to put this game into, it would probably be either collection or exploration. It is quite simple and obvious, nothing too difficult once you actually understand it, and exploration rewards you with upgrades that make your life easier and eventually even game design breaking by allowing you to swing like Spider-Man. I will break the gameplay down a little further, but know that I have only one problem with this game, and we will get to it a little bit later on in this section. So the gameplay cycle is pretty simple. Player needs to unlock a path to move the story forward, then you are given a mission to find a chest which have the parts you need. Then, after defeating a mini-boss or a boss, you are given the part from the chest that you need. Then you need to craft it using resources that you found by running around or by killing creatures. Small tip from me, go back to base once in a while if you crash, and I assume also it's the same for death. You lose your resources and then you have to go pick them up from a random spot, and it's not really fun, so just go back to base once in a while. And that's pretty much the cycle of how you play the gameplay. Obviously it expands a little bit more and you have more things and tools to play with, but it's pretty much, if you break it down, this is it. As you play the game and complete the cycle again and again, you also will be given some tools to solve some puzzles and deal with some problems. The very simple and most obvious one is a gun to deal with the aggressive fauna that you have all around the planet, and you also are given a water gun to deal with aggressive flora. And you also get things like bombs, like different kind of bombs, liquids like lava, flammable goo or conductive goo, so you can solve like electrical puzzles and stuff. It's a lot of fun. The tools are unlocked as you progress, and they also can be upgraded later on to make your life somewhat easier. But here comes the only problem I actually have with the game: incremental exploration. Having to go back to the same map over and over again simply because you didn't have the tools required feels kind of like a waste of time to me. Maybe someone else might feel different, like it's innovative because you have can do something else in the same map. I don't really see it that way. I really hate having to come back to the same place over and over again. Basically, you unlock a tool, you can go explore and you get the rewards that need this tool, but not the other tools. This is basically how you return to the first planet to do the last mission. I would much rather have all the planets be made like this. Here we go. The first planet will require tools only from the first planet. The second planet will require tools only from the first and second planet, and the third planet, will require tools from the first, the second, and the third, and so on. I don't want to have to come back to the first planet when I have the latest tool. It's just not fun. Even if this would shorten the game a little bit, I think it would be fine. I'm sure I'm not the only one who doesn't like inflation, maybe besides some Japanese animators. Even though I still love the game very much, one of the more fun aspects of the game is capturing creatures. It is an extremely important part of the game, and sometimes it is even required to actually progress the story. Each creature needs to be scanned, and then a weak point will be revealed. By hitting said weak point, you can stun the creature and then capture it for analysis. Overall, the gameplay is a ton of fun, especially for hoarders and people who just want to relax. It's very relaxed, there was no real stress in there. Just sit down, have fun. Vibes. Yes, I'm not 12, I know, but I just don't have a better word to describe this section. What this section includes is music, visuals, and the overall feelings you get while playing the game. That's why I named it vibes. If you have a better word, please let me know. I really hate using this word. I feel like I'm 12 years old with like a broccoli hair. First of all, music. I can't say it is memorable, but I can also say that I don't remember a single music track from any game I ever played, so my metric is a little bit different. I measure it by seeing if I actually notice the abrupt stops and starts of music tracks, or maybe the repeat of the same few tones over and over again. And I can say that with maybe a few times the game thought I was in combat when I wasn't, it was all pretty good, including the funny moments I showed you during the story section. Pretty fun, you know? Visually, every planet felt distinct, from snow to desert to savanna. They all have the basic things. You must have a snow, you must have a desert, you must have this, you must have a forest, but they are a little bit different from each other. They seem different, and I think this is what makes it so much fun. Granted, some of the creatures are simply reskins, meaning they just got some texture change on them, but they are essentially the same creature, they act the same and look very similar. Personally, I really don't mind that, because it helps you with knowing how to capture each creature after you've done like a few creature capturing without having to actually scan them. Finally, adding the funny writing on top and the simple puzzles, the calm and changing music in combination with the visuals, I can definitely say that this game is a whole mood on its own. Regarding performance, I had a few crashes. One of them happened right after I started recording the first episode of the Let's Play. You can go see that if you want. But aside from that, nothing. Just stable FPS, no freezes, and I'm running this game on an i9 Gen 13 and an RTX 3080 for your information. Monetization. This is the funny and interesting part. The game costs about $33. It is converted from my currency, so take that in mind. And it also has a DLC for an additional $12, again converted from my currency, that contains a few quests, 5 if I'm not wrong, where you just run around the same planets doing a little bit more work. Personally, I didn't play it, but from the player sentiment I saw, it is pretty negative. And also you must get this DLC if you want to get all the achievements in the game, and it includes an art book and a soundtrack. I don't think it's worth it, but you do you. So in the end, what do I say? Same thing I said at the very start. If you're into this genre, go play this game. If anything I said make it sound like this is your kind of thing, go for it. It's fun, it's interesting, and on its own, it absolutely works. But I have to end this with the hilarious irony that is baked into the game itself. This is just purely ironic. If this wasn't obvious enough from the gameplay, it despises cooperation. Every character tied to corporate world is stupid, greedy, or just outright insane and evil. And honestly, I don't totally disagree with this saying. But here's the kicker. The only reason this sequel even exists is because of a very small, totally obscure little group that nobody knows about called Tencent. They decided to throw some money at this game. You may say, okay, they are hands off, they gave full creative control. Sure, maybe. But money is money. It doesn't matter. The source is what matters. If you would take a celebrity fitness guru that was writing a book about some dangerous junk food and how you should diet, and then you saw that he was basically funding a campaign for the book with sponsorship from McDonald's, would you think the same? Or if a hippie filmmaker was exposing oil companies drowning some turtles in the ocean or something with shoving oil down their necks, and then you saw that this movie was actually founded by Exxon, would the message still be the same? No, right? Nobody would take it as seriously. I'm not saying the game is bad. The game is good. I still love the game. It's still fun. It's still enjoyable. I still recommend you play the game 100%. I just can't ignore the irony, and I don't think you should do. It's fun to laugh at those kind of things. The only points I'm taking back, metaphorical points I'm taking back, is one, the story, very boring, and number two, incremental exploration, what I said that I don't really enjoy. Beside that, no points to say anything about the game is bad. I enjoy every single aspect of it. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why, so I can improve. Beside that, keep us safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.